You had your chance and then you blew it.
That is the most absurd statement of the year.
Nice. Nice.
Oh, baby.
I'm in my zone, I'm feeling it.
Live from Rock Solid Studios in Granite Falls, it's time for MinneZona Sports, live with DJ Matty C and Paul the Shield Vold.
And this is MinneZona Sports Live. We are back, yes! Episode 106 episodes of MinneZona. And without further ado, I'm your host, DJ Matty C, a.k.a. Matt Callahan, a.k.a. Callie, a.k.a. Matty C, etc., etc., etc. And all the way from what? Unfortunately, no Shield tonight. I know. I wish she was here.
Bro, I've been here the whole time.
It's it's a bummer, but we have one person that has come in to fill in for Shield. So from St. Paul, Minnesota, we got our guy, Mikey. Ryan, welcome back, Mikey, to the show. It's time to talk draft, man. It's about that time.
Oh, it's about that time. It's coming up tomorrow. Super excited. The Vikings have the 12th pick. We'll get into it in a little bit here. But, super stoked to be on again. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking forward to our chat with the draft and whatnot. But not only do it's going to be a lot of draft for most of the time, but the good news about that is that we are going to be talking about the Wolves game right after we're talking draft. That needs to be addressed. We need to go over that for a brief period. And then Mikey's got his top 10 and famous list ready for us tonight. And then we got 3 ARAs. 3 ARAs, and then guess what? We're all done since we don't have any, Shields are not on here. No Shield shout-outs this week. But we're going to have a lot of fun. A lot of draft to talk about. And before we get into that, Mikey, I also posted this on our socials medias, as we like to call it. It's our draft bonanza. You guys have until tomorrow to tell us what you want, or who you want to see the Vikings take. You can also put it in the comments section. Who are the Vikings going to take? Are they going to trade back? Are they going to trade up? Who are they going to take? And these are the 4 that seem most likely, and we'll get into that with all these 4 options for the Minnesota Vikings. So it'll be interesting, and Kwesi is going to be at the front head of it. And if you pick it right, guess what? You get a free MinneZona sticker. We have stickers for you guys, and we'll send them off to you. Mikey, you've got stickers, so you're pretty well set on that. So we're good to go with that. But anyway, let's get things going. I mean, to a Tater Tot hot take, we got to get going with some Vikings draft talk. So let's get it going. It's time for some Tater Tot hot take.
Fresh out of the oven, it's Tater Tot Hot Take.
All right, it's time for some Tater Tot Hot Take, and of course, we're starting off with the NFL Draft, and we're going with our Minnesota Vikings. And in the lower third, we say with the 12th pick, the Minnesota Vikings select. I know in the middle it's supposed to say the 2022 NFL Draft, but I had to fit it in the lower third, okay? Give me a break. But anyway, the Minnesota Vikings have the 12th pick in the 2020 NFL Draft, and we've got some interesting topics to go over. We got some scenarios. We have some picks that we're gonna throw people's ways, and please feel free into the YouTube chat what you think the Vikings are going to do, and we'll mark you down. You already entered your chance in to win a MinneZona sticker. They're going to trade up, trade down. Who are they going to pick? You let us know. So, anyway, Mikey, let's get things going tonight with our purple people eaters, as I like to say. But this year, it's a little different. No Slick Rick. He's fired, unfortunately. No Zim. We have O'Connell, we have Kwesi, and then the rest of the gang in there within the front office. It's hard to predict what they're going to do. And I think it's been well established that they're not going to stockpile picks. From what we understand so far, is that they're not going to stockpile picks. Mikey, do you have any inkling on what they might do? Let's start off with that. Do you have any inkling on what they might do? And I asked this to the zoners as well. What do you think?
Yeah, I think, well, you have huge holes they need to fill. Cornerback being the main one, in my opinion. Corners have been a big liability for us, especially last year. Our pass defense was atrocious. The entire defense wasn't great, but the pass defense was the worst part. So you definitely need to address that, I think, in the first or second picks for sure. You could also, since Kevin O'Connell is now the head coach, we could go wide receiver. It would kind of emulate like what we did in the 98 draft, where we did need defensive help, but they went and picked Randy Moss instead, and you saw how well that went. So, a wide receiver would make sense. Adam Thielen's getting up there in age, and if they don't believe in KJ Osborne or I think it was a DB. I can't remember his name.
No, it's all right. Amir Smith-Marset, right?
Yes, that's it. Yes. If you don't believe in those two, you could definitely go wide receiver, get a third option there, and groom them up for the potential replacement for Adam Thielen. And the third one I could see is an edge rusher. We did sign Harrison Phillips. And we're switching to a 3-4, so a brand new scheme where Dalvin Tomlinson is now in the middle, potentially for right now. We'll see what happens in the draft and free agency and stuff like that. But we do need one more guy down. We have, let me just check the depth chart quick. We do have Jalen Twyman right now. He's the guy there currently. But he's an unknown. He could go really well. He could go really bad. We don't know currently. So edge rusher, I could see that being there as well. You'd have to have, I think, like a knockout player for that edge rusher if you were going to go that way, though.
I agree, and I think you bring up a couple good points. One, I was gonna ask you about this, and I think this is something to bring up to everybody else too, because you have the two wide receivers. You have JJ, you have Thielen, you have KJ Osborne, who played pretty well. Amir Smith-Marset really came on at the second half of the season. I think he started to understand how things work. Kene Nwangwu, I know he's running back, but still, I mean, with the special teams and having that in our back pocket, I don't think you have to look for much of a kick returner because we already have one.
Yeah.
But like you said, if they wanted to go 3 deep, they definitely could.
100%.
Yeah, they definitely could. And the reason why I say that is the one guy, and I'll just give it to you right now, my 3, and we'll ask this of the zoners too, is that my 3 right now, Jameson, or my first one is definitely Jameson. Oh my gosh, why am I blanking on his name now?
Is it Jermaine Williams, the Alabama guy?
Yeah, Jameson Williams. Yeah.
Yep.
Gosh,
yep.
I am just. It's been a day. Anyway, but Jameson Williams, I feel like is a guy that could really help our wide receiving core even more. Now, what happens with that? What does that tell Jefferson? Okay, are you guys not going to re-sign me after my rookie deal is up?
Yeah.
Is that what's going to happen? I hope not. I really hope not that he would interpret it like that. But let's not forget that Williams has had some injuries, and he's had a injury that you have to keep track of because the injury bug could come back to bite you, but at the same time, we've seen guys who've had injuries in college before the draft, during the season, and have done really well. And that kind of leads me to the Stingley thing too. So I don't think you can look at this and say, well, we already have our couple guys, but what if we had more? What if they didn't know how to go, cover us? That's a good point. So I think it's a very topsy-turvy thing, but if their guys off the board, let's just say Stingley's off the board, McDuffie's off the board, or something like that.
Yep.
I wouldn't be opposed to this. I mean, he had the ACL injury, and if he wants to spread things out, oh my gosh, this is going to be one of the best off. This is definitely 3 deep. Coming into fruition here for Minnesota. So I think that's a guy to look at. All right. I told you that we're going to do like the 3, your top 3, who do you want to pick? But let's go to an interesting topic because we all have the Kirk people that always say he can't get it done. He can't do this.
They're probably in the chat right now.
They're probably in the chat right now. And there's a lot of people that think, well, they got to go after a quarterback. They got to find their next quarterback. They got to be no matter what you think of one Kellen Mond, okay? We talked about it before the show, Mikey. We talked about it at length to say, listen, this is a situation where if there is a guy that they believe in more than they would Kellen Mond, I say, you would take him. Now, let's look at the first round. The first round, there's going to be guys on. There's going to be Malik Willis. There's probably going to be Kenny Pickett. There's probably going to be Ritter, but you're not going to reach that far for Ritter. You'd have to trade back. But if the Vikings are feeling like Kirk won't stay, if they think he probably won't stay after his contract's up or after this year, is Malik Willis an option at 12? What do you think, Mikey?
If he's there, you definitely take the option and look at him for sure.
It's not out of the question.
It's not out of the question. Definitely not. Especially with Kirk only being on that 1-year extension. I would say you really have to believe in him because you're going to cause like the people that believe in Kirk, you're gonna piss them off, by picking a quarterback in the first round. You're basically just saying, yeah, this is a 1-year bridge quarterback, and then you're just gonna move on to Malik Willis after that. I would say, like, if your guys are off the board for corner and wide receiver potentially, like, and Malik Willis is still there, I think he's going to go at 2 to the Lions. But if he's still there and everyone's off the board and you really believe in this guy, I would say take the shot. You pick the best player available a lot of times. Usually that works in your favor over your detriment. Now, if he's gone and Kenny Pickett is there, that brings up another question. I personally don't really believe in Kenny Pickett. He is basically what you have in Kirk, just a little bit younger and obviously less money. A little bit more mobile. Yeah, a little bit more mobile, but he's going to be about the same mold as what Kirk Cousins gives you right now. So if you want the same amount of Kirk but a little less, I mean, sure, but if you're drafting at 12, you want to get a home run guy. You want to get guys who are potentially going to the Pro Bowl, if not the Hall of Fame, Yeah. So my only thing would be, if you're drafting quarterback, it has to be Malik Willis. He has to drop to 12. If not, I think you just wait. This quarterback class, unfortunately, is not very good. The next year's quarterback class is really the one where we're going to have to target a guy if we do not stay with Kirk.
Yeah.
So I think, it's only if Malik Willis is there, I would say.
I think, I wouldn't be against it. And why do I say that? Is because, Kirk, I like Kirk. I've always kind of gone to bat for Kirk on many things. Mm-hmm. But if you have an opportunity to kind of groom the next guy, I think you take that chance. Now, you wonder, well, how long is he going to last? Is he going to be able to, go into the future with this team and be able to still play at that high level? That's the big question. And Kirk has a lot of nice things, a lot of guys don't have. Accuracy. Also, a lot of people rip him on the deep ball. Have you seen him throw?
I think his deep ball's great.
His deep ball's fantastic. How can you say that it's terrible and not even watch how he plays? It is so baffling to me. Some people just think, oh, he's just the worst ever. It's like, have you seen Mitch Trubisky? Have you seen, you've seen so much worse than that. And Kirk has a lot of things, but he isn't very mobile. He has run for first downs. He has the ability to do so, Mikey, and zoners as well. But, again, if you want a guy like Malik Willis, I think this guy, I really do like Willis. Now, here's the thing. He needs to develop. This isn't a guy that's going to come in and make an immediate impact. He needs time to grow. And if the Vikings want to, pull the trigger on this, go right ahead. I don't see an issue with it. I won't freak out and be like, oh my God, they should have taken the corner. We need a corner. There's corners in day 2 that you can really look for. And also, guess what? Free agency's still open too. It's not like, there's a bunch of slouches out there. And by the way, you have Pat Pete back, and I think Dantzler's starting to understand how things work. Mm-hmm. And I think that they can be, solid draft picks. So okay, I'm glad that we got that out of the way. So let's move on to my next question for you, Mikey. As the Kerf Doctor likes to say, as the zoners have enjoyed this segment and whatnot, we've always been clamoring for one thing and one thing only: a line. Mikey, we both played O-line in high school, okay? And we all know what it takes to have a solid O-line. You look at the successful teams in the NFL. The Rams have a really good O-line. The Bucks usually have a pretty good O-line too. But the thing that has always been nagging the Vikings has been that right guard position. Yeah. Okay. Now, it's more than likely they're probably not going to go offensive line with pick 12 unless they trade back and they really like a guy. So let me ask you this. Should we also look at O-line in the second and third rounds? And who do you think might be available that might fit that mold? Because let's not forget that we did sign some guys in order to maybe fight for that position, because I think it's going to be a position battle for some of these guys who we signed. So
Has to be.
We'll get into that in a second. But, Mikey, what are some guys you're looking at, hopefully, in the second and third rounds here?
Yeah, so, day 2, I definitely have a couple of guys that I've been looking at. I think if we do, shoot with that second round pick, we got to get a guy who's been there all the time. And I think a person by the name of Cole Strange, he's out of Chattanooga. Probably not a lot of people have seen him. I think he is one of the best guards in like the tier 2-ish position.
Okay.
So like right outside of like the big names that you guys see, like everyone like the offensive line from the offensive guy from Iowa.
Yep. Lindenbaum, I think.
Yeah, Lindenbaum and all like the big name tackles. We're not going after those guys. Those guys are going to be gone, especially after the first round. But the second round, I think Cole Strange has a unique set where he is extremely athletic. He's a little bit on the smaller side, I will say that, which, you can cause a little bit of concern. But we've done this before where we got Ezra Cleveland in the second round. He was a little bit on the lighter side. We bulked him up. He was originally a tackle. We moved him into guard, and he's been solid ever since. You know? And we got 2 good tackles now with O'Neal, and Darisaw had a very good rookie season. Yeah. If he continues on that path, he's going to be very solid for us for years to come. So I think Cole Strange fitting in there would be a solid choice. I think in like second round pick, if we went that way, 100%, I would not be mad at that at all. For day 3, like third round or fourth round guys, if we didn't go that and say we went, if we went corner in the first and then wide receiver in the second, or corner and then edge, so any of those big positions that we do need to fill, I see guys like Leticus Smith out of Virginia Tech, and if he falls down, a lot of people are projecting him like low second, high third. So he might not make it to day 3 or the third round pick for us. But if he doesn't fall there, I think Cade Mays, he did play tackle at Tennessee. I think moving him inside is probably the better position for him after looking at some tape. I think it's the same way. I'm looking at guys that are athletic, because we're going to need guys that it's the Kevin O'Connell system, Ram system. They did a lot of wide outside zone. You're going to need your guys to get on the move and move those down linemen laterally and then up the field. And that athletic offensive linemen are perfect for that. And our offensive line is built for it. Everyone on that line is pretty athletic for us. They're not. We're not big, run belly, run straight at them and pancake everybody for
Let Dalvin figure it out when he gets down there.
That's what Dalvin's good at. Dalvin is good at finding those running lanes and attacking them, and that's what zone is perfect for, outside zone. So I think getting another athletic guy that you can put there and you can develop, maybe put a little bit more weight on him. A lot of these guys in like the second round, third round, day 3 area, you're going to need to develop. They're not going to be, you put in day 1, going to be an all-pro right away. They're not. They're just not. They could potentially fight for some spots day 1, and you could turn them into all-pros, but that might take a couple of years, So those are really the 3 guys I'm looking at. For a guard, if we wanted to go a different route, say maybe Kevin O'Connell and the offensive staff don't believe in Bradbury at center, and they want to move him out to guard because I think he can make that transition extremely well. We could look at guys like Cam Jurgens from Nebraska. I think he is one of the smartest, one of the most athletic people on the offensive line I've seen. He was a tight end that got converted to center. So he's a little on the lighter side. I think he measured at like 301 at the combine. So very light for a center. But I saw his tape. He could still play tight end. He was moving lightning quick. And he could do whatever you wanted to in our scheme. Like he could pull from the center position and go out for screens if we really wanted him to. So I think if we wanted to do that, Cam Jurgens would be a good idea for like the second round. I don't think he's getting out of the second round.
Yeah.
Not even out of the third. I think he's going to be gone at that point. If we wanted to look for another guy who I think is brilliant, he's smart, will understand the plays day one. He's got good core strength and everything like that. Brock Hoffman out of Virginia Tech. There's a lot of Virginia Tech guys. They had a really good offensive line last year. I think Brock Hoffman's another guy to look at. He's going to be a day 3 guy, though. I don't think you pick him up in even the third round. I think this guy is going to be like a 4th round pick. And if someone does get him in the third round, they're reaching for it a little, but I think he's still going to be a great pick, even in the third round if we want to go that route.
Okay.
So I think we got options to move around in our offensive line right now, which is good. It's good to have options like that. The key thing we're missing is that one position at right guard. Either Bradbury moves out or we pick a guy there. So we got a bunch of options. A lot of the top guys aren't going to be there, unfortunately, unless we do pick an offensive guard at 12. But I think we'll be extremely reaching for that, and that'll be something that if we do want guard first round, we're going to be drafting back. We're going to be trading down, drafting back, and we'll get a guard at the 20-ish spot probably.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's viable, and I also think that you have options down there if you're willing to take them. And it's everyone wants that situation with right guard to be fixed.
Yeah.
Right, like that. And I don't think that's the case at all. And granted, I do think the one thing that I didn't like with Spielman and Zim is that they didn't address it the way that they should have. Mm-hmm. It's like, well, we didn't have the money to get a guy like that because of Kirk's contract, because of Dollar or Daniil. It's like
a lot of excuses.
Yeah, it's a lot of excuses. So you need to. It's like, well, we can just coach a guy up. Well, this is a different beast. Okay, this is a different beast, and I think that's what they're missing. That they were missing with that. I think with this new regime, they're looking at it as like, all right, we're gonna sign these guys that we think that might. That'll be steadily there, but I think eventually we got to draft somebody that might just take over that spot, so then we won't have to worry about how our line's going to look and have that be the weak point of our offensive line. And you look at center. I've been questioning whether we should hold on to Bradbury or not, and I do like what he does. I think there are games where he's really good, but I also think there are games that he needs to play better. And
100%.
I understand he might be undersized a little bit, but I don't think that should hamper your progression. I think there's ways that you can get help from the guard. You can get help from somebody else in order to be successful. So I think we'll be okay in that. I think that's what they're going to do. They're going to look in the second round, third round, and say, okay, we'll see. And this is just pure speculation. This isn't like oh, this is what's going to happen because we know what's going on. I have no clue what's going on.
Yeah, this is the first time in a long time where I've been like, I have no idea what the Vikings are going to do.
Yeah, I have no idea. I mean, corner's the thing. I mean, that's our best guess at this point is that's where they're going to go. So with that being said, okay, Mikey, I told you before, about a week ago or whatever it was when we had you on when Shield couldn't make it. I asked you to put together three guys that you think that they are going to draft. Your top three. Who would you like to see draft for the Vikings? So first, why don't you explain your three guys, and then also, are they going to stay put? They're going to trade up. They're going to trade back. What do you think? All right, give me your three.
Yeah, so my three guys, if we stay at 12, I'll reveal that in a sec, is Derek Stingley Jr. out of LSU. I think that's clearing away the first guy that we get. I don't think there's a chance that we get the guy out of Cincinnati, Sauce Gardner. Yeah. I just don't think it's going to be there. The Jets pick number 4, and number 10. If we wanted him, we'd have to jump up to 3 because I think he's going to go number 4 overall. And he's clearing away the best corner in the draft. I don't think there's any doubt about that. But I think Stingley's the second best guy in this draft. 2019, absolute stud. Looked like he was going to be, the number 1 corner whatever draft that he went, right? Unfortunately, injury got to him, and in 2020, 2021, he just wasn't the same guy. But I think just based off of that 2019 tape and based off of what Patrick Peterson's been going to bat for this guy, like every day it seems like. He's from LSU. Patrick Peterson was from LSU. I think coming here, I think it's going to be like the perfect fit for us. Patrick Peterson will coach him up. He's exactly what we need on the outside. We can move Dantzler back inside where I think he's a little bit better. And he's not going to be on an island like he usually is where we're screaming at him to stop guys. I think Stingley is like my first choice. I think if he is there, you take him. It's going to be a good pick. And we're not going to talk about it anymore because he's going to be out there and we're just going to forget about it. Like they're not going to throw his way. We'll have Peterson and everybody else. If he's not there and they are dead set at getting a corner, I think Trent McDuffie is the next best guy. Okay. He's a little bit on the smaller side. He's like 5'11", 195 or something like that. But fellow Vikings fans might know he reminds me a lot of Antoine Winfield Sr.'s type of play style. He is super good at tackling, wrap-up tackling, out like by himself, like outfield tackles. He's perfect at. He's super speedy. Lockdown corner. He can take guys up the field. We didn't see a whole lot of him on the outside. We can definitely keep him there, but I think really he's best in that slot because he can just run with anybody and lock him down. So, if we ever play the Kansas City Chiefs and we play against, their speedsters, they have 5 of them, it seems like. I think he can definitely lock one of them down. I think he's a good, solid pick. But if they wanted Stingley and he was gone and they wanted to get the best available player, and they went wide receiver, I think they could go wide receiver, emulate kind of what they did in the 98 draft where we did need defensive help and went wide receiver instead. And, famously we got Randy Moss and, that 98 season will go down in the history books as one of the best offenses of all time. I think they could go with a guy, Jermaine Williams out of Alabama. You talked about him, Matt. I think
Jameson Williams.
Is it Jameson Williams? Yep. I have him as Jermaine on my sheet here. That might be my fault.
No, you're good.
I think he's just so good. He's so fast. He runs very great routes. Probably not as great of routes as former Alabama guys like Amari Cooper and stuff like that. But that's something you can teach. Good route running is something that you learn with time, especially in the NFL. But you can't really teach his raw athleticism that he has, the speed that he has, the just exceptional hands that he has. That's something that you're just born with a lot of the time. So I think if Stingley's gone and we really wanted a wide receiver, I think Williams is there. But I'll give you a bonus fourth here.
Sure.
I think if they want to go out of left field, I think Christian Watson out of NDSU, I think he might be the best wide receiver in this draft based off of pure talent alone.
Nice.
He's got a lot of things to work on. His drop rate at NDSU at FCS level, not great. It was 15% drop rate. So that's a lot. His production wasn't great, but if you go back on tape, if he picked up a lot of those catches were for touchdowns. A lot of them were for 50, 60-yard throws that he dropped. So if he caught those, his production would be up there a lot. And, I mean, this guy is just insane. 6'5", runs a 4.3. His body position is just incredible. He fights for balls a lot. I think, if we really wanted a guy to work on a project for a true number one receiver out, like right next to Justin Jefferson for that X receiver, move Thielen in to the slot where I think he works really well. I think he having him those crossing routes over the middle. He's super good at doing those. I think Watson might be the guy, but I would say I wouldn't agree unless he's like the only option there. If all those other three guys are gone, you take this guy. He's going to be a project. And he'll probably kind of do like what Justin Jefferson did, where he was on the bench for a little bit and then got into more reps. I don't think Jefferson needed that time off the bench, like sitting down and learning, right?
Yeah.
I think he was ready to go, but it worked out regardless. But I think Watson does need that time to learn like good route running, good ball play, or good hand catching, or like how to actually play the wide receiver position. But those are my four guys.
Yeah, an added bonus one. We love it. All right, we have one zoner chiming in. Easy A. Do we have a safety that is with Harry the Hitman? And that's a good point because we had Xavier Woods and he is gone.
Yeah.
Which I think he started off hot, but then after he fizzled out because he missed some coverages and things like that. And I mean, quite frankly, this was a Zim signing and, Spielman and whatnot. But granted, we have another guy by the name of Cam Bynum. And Cam Bynum, I thought, played really well for when he had to come in for Harry for some games. I think that Baltimore game when he came in, when Harry was out of COVID,
he looked really good.
Played really well. So I like that, but if they wanted to go that route, and I think Easy A makes a good point, is that we could look at that Notre Dame safety.
Yep.
And all of a sudden you have two Golden Domers in the back, in your defensive backs. And I think it's Harrison Phillips, if I'm not mistaken.
I think that's right.
And I think that's a guy you look at and say, if you pair him with Harry, oh my goodness, that is going to be amazing. So and then if you're thinking, not much, we believe in Cam Bynum, then I am totally fine with Cam Bynum back there as well. Because I think we saw a lot out of him. I think, there's definitely still some growth to be had, but guess what? Everyone needs to, get up to that position and whatnot. So that's a great question, Easy A, with that. Because safety, I think you got to look at maybe even in the second.
I think second round. Safety,
second round, third round, fourth, maybe even fourth.
I think looking at safety is definitely an option. We do need the depth there if we want to even go with Bynum, Depth is never a bad problem, especially in the secondary.
Right. But I still think, I think here's how I would look at it, though. Let's just say corner. Let's go with our needs first. Okay, so let's go corner.
100%.
Let's go right guard. And then I think the third one is definitely what we were saying with the safety position. So we'll go with that. All right, here's mine. Now, yours is very similar to mine. And the reason why is because because we don't know what's going to happen, right? So I'm just going to start off with one guy that I kind of want them to take. And I think this has the potential to work out really, 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 really well for the Vikings. I'm going to bring up our photo here. You see that Georgia guy, number 99 right there?
Oh, yeah.
Let me ask you this, and I asked this to the zone. Did you see his 40 time? Did you see how he dominated the combine?
I couldn't believe that 40 time when I looked at his height and weight. It's like, oh my God.
Jordan Davis. And I want the zoners and everyone else to remember that name for as I'm talking right now. Jordan Davis, defensive tackle out of Georgia. Now, you might think, well, you're just going by what the combine what he did at the combine. No, I'm not going by what he did at the combine. Have you seen his tape? The guy is a monster.
That entire defensive line was insane for Georgia. Oh my God!
The thing is you already have a guy that's probably going to go one with Walker. I mean, he's probably going to go one. Yeah. Now you have him, and then you have another guy, the Wyatt, and with Wyatt too. He's a defensive, and he's very good too. So if the Vikings took him too, I'm fine with that. But if you are going to go after somebody that is going to be a monster for years to come, I'd look at Jordan Davis.
Yep.
And props out to Dalvin Tomlinson. I do like Dalvin Tomlinson. But when you look at a guy that's that fast and that quick and can just be so disruptive, and you pair him with Darius Smith, you pair him with Danielle Hunter, you're looking at, dare I say, the Purple People Eaters. That D-line would be insane.
It'd be incredible.
It would be insane. But here's why I'm not as confident in that, because let's be honest, Mikey, he might go earlier.
Yeah, I think he will.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like this guy might go earlier, so I'm hesitant. I'm hesitant to go that route, but still, if they really like him enough, I would try it. I would try for it. I just think he can be a game wrecker. I think that this guy can go just be so disruptive. And, oh, man, the defense is going to look awesome. Our defense will look awesome from that. But where does that leave you? Okay, well, you don't have corners. You don't have, the guy, a big need, right? Well, you can look in the second round and things like that. Yeah, we mentioned that.
There are guys there.
But let's just say, okay, somebody takes him. We're, SOL, out of luck, right? So let's go. Let me bring up another guy too, okay? Let's go with the most obvious one, Stingley. I like Stingley a lot. I liked his 2019 season. You mentioned it, Mikey. I really enjoyed the way that he was able to shut down top guys. I mean, if you're playing in the SEC, you're already doing great things. Now, COVID year, then you have, then he was injured. He was out for 8 games. But he bounced back in his pro day. He did really good in his pro day, and I think he'll be back into shape. Now, he's going to be that shutdown corner. And guess what? Oh, we have Patrick Peterson. He went to LSU too. He knows him. He is trying to implore the Vikings to get Stingley, right? So I believe in Pat Pete and I believe in Stingley. And I think that's the way they're going to go. But like I said, if Jordan Davis is there, ooh, man.
I know.
I'm so excited.
It's hard to pass up a talent like that.
Yeah, it is so hard to pass up a talent like that, especially if he's going to be – I'm not going to say he might put me up for an absurd statement, but he could – he's looking a lot like Aaron Donald right now. I'm not saying he is Aaron Donald. It's a stretch, but the guy is a monster with Jordan Davis. But Stingley, stamp of approval. If they go after Stingley, I give them my full support if they go with Stingley. Here's the one thing about Stingley, though. If you're expecting him to make tackles in the open field when running backs are going, don't expect him to do much. And maybe he works on that and he proves us wrong, and I hope he does if that's the case. So let's not forget that. But, go ahead, Mikey.
No, I was just going to add on to that. He needs to work on that. That's the only one gripe I can see with it. And then the NFL these days, where a lot of teams are trying to widen the field and get the ball to their playmakers and let them make moves, you're going to need to make those open field tackles. So it's definitely something he's got to work on, but I think he can do it.
I think he can do it too. So I think we're sitting in good. We're feeling good about it. I think that's the best way. So I think that's the more likely one. I'll put the Jordan Davis one kind of at the back burner, but my second one, it's a stretch with Jameson Williams. Okay, he had the injury. Yeah, he had everything going with that too. But I'll keep this brief. But I like the whole aspect of having him in the fold. Now, granted, we do have depth at wide receiver. I was reading some articles saying the Vikings don't have depth. Did you see how KJ Osborne played this past year?
Osborne played great.
Amir Smith-Marset towards the end of the season. We didn't even
BC
have Irv Smith. I mean,
no,
for goodness
Irv Smith
sake.
was out for most of the year. BC was was a fill-in player too.
Yeah, and he was BC was out for all the year, and the thing is, BC's coming back.
Yeah,
but we don't know to what extent. So if you have a chance to do that, I wouldn't be against them doing that with Jameson Williams, and he's fast. He's a fast guy. You pair it with the speed, and then you pair it with Thielen with unbelievable grabs. Same with Jefferson. He's got speed, and the route running that these guys have, unbelievable. I mean, this guy, I'm telling you right now, I'm going to show this again, but he's fast, man. Forget about the ACL injury. I think he'll be good.
Yeah.
But I'll do a quick bonus with you, and I think McDuffie. I think that'd be my bonus too. So I'll be happy with that. All right, we gotta move on here, but I got one more question from a zoner. Easy A asked, "Does our linebacking core have depth?" That's a good point.
That's a good point.
That's another thing. I mean, you have Kendricks, you have Hicks, who you signed as well. But those are kind of the two guys that you already have sitting ready to go. Who do you have after that? Well, you probably have to add some. You probably have some undrafted or I think you look at that in the 5th and 6th.
Exactly. Well, and especially since we're going. Yeah. Especially since we're going from a 4-3 through a 3-4, we just don't have the depth there currently because just it's a scheme change.
Zadarius.
Yeah, Zadarius. DJ Wanham, I believe, is moving to the outside as well. Surratt's still there, I believe.
Yeah, I like Surratt too. I think
Troy Dye, I believe, is somewhere in there too, fighting for a spot.
That'll be interesting. I mean, it's basically just the inside linebacker, but then you already have the outside with Zadarius.
Zadarius and Daniil Hunter moving out to that other, basically just another rusher, but he's going to be playing that stand-up position.
It'll be interesting. Ed Donatello's defense is going to be interesting. So
yes, I 100%
I'm curious
agree.
To see how they're going to go about that. So I'm glad Easy A brought that up. I like that's a good question. So I think, Mikey, you and I think they're going to stay put, right?
I think so. Thinking. I don't think the only thing I could think of is like if the guys that we mentioned, if they're gone, they'll move down and they'll look for their second option. Maybe they grab one of those premier guards, or maybe they grab like another edge rusher, like the next tier down. But I really think they stay put. I don't see them moving up. It would cost them way too much to try to overseed the Jets and try to take Sauce Gardner there if they everyone likes them, and I think the Jets really need them. It'll just cost too much in draft equity to get up to that spot. So I really think they just stay. I think staying is the correct move here.
So zoners, let us know what you think. Should the Vikings stay, and tell us who they'll pick. You already have entered yourself into win a free MinneZona sticker, so make sure you let us know. And then you're already entered in. We'll make sure that we get that for you. So that was 45 minutes of draft talk. That was great. Absolutely great. So that's where we're thinking. I think it's Stingley or bust.
Yeah,
Stingley's
all the way.
Yep. So we'll see what happens. I'm very intrigued. I can't wait for tomorrow. So, all right, with that, we have to move on to a little bit more of it's a little sad topic here. The Minnesota Timberwolves, Mikey, fall to the Memphis Grizzlies last night in heartbreaking fashion. I watched pretty much almost the whole second half. The whole time I'm thinking, oh my gosh, are they going to be up 3-2 going to Target Center? This is the best case scenario for these Timberwolves. And that's not what happened at all. So no. I just... Mikey, it doesn't surprise me. And the reason why I say that is because this has kind of been the mantra of this team is they can't get it done. They can't, they're a young team, granted. They've struggled through some adversity and things like that, but it's been poor management, and then we haven't had guys that have been willing to step up. But the thing is this team isn't like those teams now. You have Ant, you have D'Angelo, you have Cat. I said this, and I predicted this. I said Memphis was going to win in 6. And guess what? Then it's getting
It's
very
game
likely.
number 6. They could win it.
It's very likely. So, Mikey, hold on. Is it going to be a classic Minnesota choke? Yeah, I mean, technically it already has. You were up. Was it game 3, right?
Game 3, we're up like what?
We're up 25. We have 2 25-point leads throughout the game, and then we end up losing. How does that happen? It doesn't. Everyone trying to play hero ball. So, but yeah, Easy A. That's not out of the realm of possibility here. So, Mikey, just kind of give me your thoughts on the game here this past or yesterday.
I mean, I would say it's heartbreaking, but as Minnesota fans, we've grown up with it, right?
Yeah.
With like almost every one of our sports teams, we've grown up with heartbreak year after year after year, especially with the Vikings, the Twins. The Twins can't get out of the freaking first round. How many years in a row? It's deplorable. But the one thing that really pisses me off about this team in particular is we were up, I believe it was like 94-84 or something along those lines. And they got a clip of Cat shushing the crowd, you know? It's like, you can't do that unless you put the game away. And guess what? The Wolves have not put games away. When you're up 25, you need to win those games. No, there's nothing about that. You cannot lose those games. If you do, it sticks with you. It's now your MO. Like it's like Atlanta Falcons, 28-3. It's never going to get out of the rhetoric for them until they win like a Super Bowl, and that's going to stick. If the Wolves lose this series, if they don't win game 6 and 7, that's going to stick with them until they win in the playoffs. They're just going to be the team that's just like, they're all for show, but when it comes down to crunch time, they back up. They play scared.
Yeah.
It's like, it's frustrating. We have the pieces around. I don't know what it's going to take for this team. Like we have these pieces. Like you said, we have Ant, we have Cat, we have D'Angelo. These are good pieces. On any other team, they would be their number 1 or number 2 options for them. Like we have, a big 3 basically. They're not there. Obviously, they're not there yet. They're not in the national media. We're a small market team, yes, but at some point that shouldn't matter. It's just got to change. Something has to change in the organization, whether that be coaching staff, whether that be front office, whether we move players around. Something's got to change to the point where this team actually does something and goes into a deep playoff run. Otherwise, you're going to have like me or a lot of the other Minnesota fans are very apathetic towards the Wolves because they're just like, why bother if they're just going to break our hearts every year?
I get that. And this is what I was afraid of. And this is exactly what's happening right now. This team is young. Now, props out to Memphis because they keyed in on our mistakes.
They played their hearts out, man.
Yeah, they did. And you got to give Josh credit. He went out and he didn't have a great game in game 4, and he comes out into the latter or in the fourth quarter and pretty much takes over the game. You can't let that happen. And the reason why you can't let that happen, and I granted there was some bad officiating, which is it's going to happen.
Yeah.
But props out to Pat Bev, but you can't be committing that many fouls. Okay? You cannot keep committing that many fouls because here's the issue at hand here. This is going to come to a situation where you're gonna face a team that has been experienced, the Golden State Warriors.
Yeah.
And they are going to key in on things, and they are going to sweep you. But this is the Memphis Grizzlies. They're a young team too. You might have won those 2 games, but you also could have maybe even beat them in 5. 5 games. Think about that. They could have beat them in 5 games.
It would have been great.
They wouldn't have given up the lead, right? And here's the issue with last night too, Mikey and Zoners. They were trying to play hero ball, and that was what happens when that's why you lose it. Is guys trying to, be the guy to go out there. And D'Angelo Russell, I love D'Lo. Don't get me wrong, I love D'Lo, but good Lord.
Yeah.
He was holding on to the ball way too long. It was solid defense by Memphis, but for goodness sake, he's throwing up prayers. We're committing turnovers. They were surprised we were leading, But what it came down to was Ant hits the 3-point shot to tie it up, which was amazing drop by Finch and also a heck of a shot from Ant. So props out to him. But then Ant got really greedy. And what I mean by that is he tried to steal the ball away from John Morant, and he got beat. And he got beat bad. And I love Ant. We all love Ant. And he admitted, he said, I already had made my mind up that I was going to try and steal it. Dumb mistake. It's over, though. Yep. Can't do nothing about it. So I give him props for that, saying, I screwed up. This is the learning curve for this team right now. And this is exactly what I'm talking about. I'm not saying, I want them to go out into game 6 here at the Target Center on Friday, and I want them to say, you know what, I don't care about, teams that are unsuccessful in game 6s and things like that. Just go out there and play ball, have fun, and guess what? I think you can beat them. I think you can take this to a game 7. I really think they can. But here's the thing. Cat's got to come and play. Cat has to come and play. I don't give a damn who's refereeing the game. Stop complaining to the referees, okay? This is exactly what we told you. Listen, Cat, you're not going to get anywhere with these refs, okay? Just leave it be. Leave it be, Cat.
Yeah.
Leave it be. So that's one issue that we have to address, but I don't think that's going to change. But it's come to a point where this is a young team, and if they lose in 6, they lose in 6. But you know what? I still like what I see from this team. Let's not forget that. I might be upset with them with all the blowing leads and playing hero ball and everything. But let's be honest. They've gotten farther than they have since, when Jimmy was here. Granted, we only won 1 game and he was injured, but that's a whole different situation. And then 2004. So there is a lot of hope with this team. The thing is, you got to put it all together, and this is a learning experience for this team. So I'm hoping they can turn it around. But I'm not going to give a prediction with Game 6, but I'm still going to stick with Memphis in 6, and that's just what I think with it. I'll get final thoughts from you in a second, Mikey. New front office, Easy A says, just like the Twins. Oops, LOL. I don't think it's at that point yet.
No.
Because, well, first of all, Rosas got a little handsy with a co-worker of his, and he gets fired, and then you bring in Gupta, and, not yet. They went 46-36, I think it was. So I think they're doing okay with that. So, Mikey, any final thoughts with the Wolves here?
Yeah, I know. I might have been a little hyperbolic, but it's just the frustration of a Minnesota fan.
Exactly. Oh yeah. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I mean, it's that simple.
The Wolves have been, treading water for how many years at this point?
We've lived through it. I mean,
03-04, great season, and then we just kind of gone down. And then we had the 1 year with, the player that shall not be named.
Fair enough.
But yeah, no, it's just at some point we got to put it all together. Could this be the moment where they put it together? Maybe I thought, game 3 might be the moment where they're like, oh, maybe we should, get our act together and win this series. But maybe it's this series. Maybe it's like, finally we'll put all these dumb mistakes behind us. We'll stop playing hero ball, pass the ball a little bit, get everyone involved, and go out and win game 6 and 7. You're at home. You should win game 6. You have home court advantage. It just comes down to that game 7. I think I think they could probably bring it to a Game 7, but I don't know if they're going to win it. If they're at Memphis, I kind of doubt it.
Yeah. We'll see. I think they could lose in 7 too. I mean, it's very likely with that too. So we'll see. Game 6 on Friday. Hopefully we can put it all together. So anyway, Mikey, we technically have some sort of a special segment, but we're going to do top 10 and famous, and we're going to do your top 10 and famous list for this week for our quick special segment, and then we'll move on to ARA, and then we'll be all good to go. So let's get it going with the top 10 or top 10 infamous list.
Oh, yeah.
Here's the list no one wants to be on. Infamous Top 10.
All right, it's time for the top 10 infamous list. It's just Mikey today with his list. So, Mikey, I'll let you start off, and here is the graphic for everybody.
Sure. So, number 10, fan-controlled football. I tuned in this last weekend to watch. I was like, what's going on? I'll watch this. I was tuning into the USFL on Sunday to see Kyle Sloter, the Viking.
Slaughterhouse.
Slaughterhouse. I tuned in to fan-controlled football, and what do I see? Well, some of the most deplorable football I've ever seen in my life. It's insane how this entire league is still up and running. It's like, oh my God. I was listening to the commentators. To be honest with you, rather listen to Joe Buck. I'd rather
listen to Monday
to
night this year.
Yeah, I'd rather listen to anyone else other than the fan-controlled football announcers. The football they put on the field, some of the players look like they're decent, but other players look like they took them out of the seats and like, hey, we're just gonna put you on offensive line, figure it out. God, it's just so bad. It's so bad. I wanted to put them higher, but like, it's still a young league.
Good.
It's a young league. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt, but they're at number 10. They're gonna climb if they keep it up, though. Number 9, I have Kyrie Irving, just because of how much of an idiot he is. Like the whole Nets thing, him being a huge distraction that this entire playoff run. That alone keeps him in conversation for the infamous list. But just how he handles the COVID stuff, like sure, you don't want to get the shot, whatever. Like at this point, it's like it's your choice. I'm really sick and tired.
Your team, though. Say that.
Yeah. It's hurting your team. That's 100%. You don't take the shot. You have to deal with the consequences of it. And that's like, and this is just a general rant at this point. Some people don't get that,
Yeah.
Like you can have the opinion that's like, hey, I don't want to get the shot, but you have to deal with the consequences of it. You're not going to be able to do some of the things that other people, who do put the public health in their consciousness and get the shot, get the COVID booster and all that other stuff. They're going to be able to do things that you're not going to be able to do, But Kyrie seems Kyrie seems to think that since he's an NBA basketball player, since he's part of the Nets, that all is just moot for him. And it really pisses me off.
Yeah, I can tell.
That's why he's there. Number 8, NFL Pro Bowl. It's just like, get rid of it at this point. It's like, oh my God, you cannot. It's not football. You're playing flag football. I would rather than play flag football. Just play 7-on-7. Have the offensive lineman go cook a barbecue on the sideline. Like offense versus defense cookout. See who makes the better food. I think that would be extremely interesting. And just play 7-on-7 for the rest of the skill position. I don't think anyone would be opposed to that. But also with it, I don't like their structure because they put it in between, the in between that 1 week period, right before the Super Bowl. So the people who are playing in the Super Bowl don't get the benefit of being an all-pro. Yeah. That's kind of dumb. People are tuning in to see the best players put off their skills. Yeah. Like move it to after the Super Bowl. Give those guys, the week to just relax, hang out with their peers, and just have some fun. You know, that's what the Pro Bowl is supposed to be about. It's supposed to be a vacation for these people.
Yep.
Number 7, Aaron Rodgers. I really wanted to put him higher.
Yeah. Well, it makes sense.
Yeah, it's Aaron Rodgers. He's a clown.
Makes
a clown.
Yeah.
It should be like Clown Rodgers at this point.
Oh, yeah.
But, like, I think he's going to get what's coming to him because now that Devontae Adams isn't there anymore and they're really hurting for wide receiver, I think they might double down on wide receiver in the first round.
They have to at this point.
I hate to
interrupt, but I was real quick. I was, looking at everyone saying they got to take a wide receiver. It's like, gosh, you have to hold those guys at gunpoint to have them draft a freaking wide receiver.
Yeah, it's insane. What's the last receiver they drafted in the first round? Javon Walker? That was like 2003.
I know. It's just ridiculous at this point. But
it's insane.
Continue.
It's like, oh my God. So I put him there just because of, he's Aaron Rodgers. He's just one of the dumbest people I've ever seen on the field. I think his skill speaks for himself. One of the greatest quarterbacks ever. I wish he was a little more humble about it at some point.
Oh, he'll never be humble about it.
Yeah, Complaining Rodgers. Thank you, Easy A. That is the greatest name I've seen for him.
Exactly.
But yeah, no, it's just bad. And I think he's gonna get what's coming to him. Who's he gonna throw to this year?
Randall Cobb, apparently.
Yeah, Randall Cobb. What is this? 2012?
Yeah.
So,
right,
number 6. Yeah, number 6. I have Deshaun Watson. The whole scandal thing and everything moving to the Browns and doing that. And now there's some sort of dispute with the courts now because now he's moving to Cleveland. And now who knows what happens with the Houston decision and stuff like that. It's like, it's all a whole mess. And
good luck, Stefanski.
Yeah. Like I feel bad for Stefanski, but you got to get the guy. If there's nothing, but the NFL is a whole other thing at this point. But yeah, it's just insane. On to another NFL player, number 5, Clowntonio Brown. Matt and Voldy have gone to at length about this guy. I don't think I have to really explain anything more about him, but it's just insane. Same thing with this one. Number 4, JohnnyManziel. Also a part of fan-controlled football. Did you know that him and Terrell Owens are on the same stupid team for fan-controlled football?
Oh, yeah.
I was watching it. I'm like, what is 45-year-old Terrell Owens doing out here? He's going to break his femur. It's like, what are you doing? Don't you have millions and millions of dollars? Did you waste it AP and have to keep playing?
Let's be honest, he probably did.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. I wouldn't doubt it with how Terrell Owens likes to talk smack and do all this other stuff. He probably tried to put his money where his mouth was one time and lost the bet. It's just, I just don't get it why JohnnyManziel is just still playing. He's just doing it for the paycheck is probably what he's doing.
It's very likely.
at the same point, it's just what are you doing on the field? So much wasted potential with him.
Yeah.
Number 3, I think at this point, Matt, we should put him in the Hall of Fame. Just put him in the Hall of Fame for the infamous list.
Yeah.
Infamous Jameis. I'm sick and tired of putting him on this list. We can't take him off. There's an infamous list for a reason, and it was because of infamous Jameis. It's just put him. We got to put him in the Hall of Fame. Maybe make him put an emote in part of the top 10 list or whatever.
Yeah. Well, the thing is technically he's already there. That's the thing, and myself and Voldy have to have a conversation of what should we do with him.
Yeah,
put him in the Hall of Fame so we can add people to it. I think that day is coming. That day is coming. So
yeah, I 100% see it because he should be number 1, but I wanted to keep it a little fresh, so I moved him down to number 3. But he really deserves to be number 1.
Yeah.
Number 2. Could be considered for the Hall of Fame at some point in this infamous list, Urban Meyer. Because, what are you doing? What are you doing?
That's all you got to say, yeah.
Seriously, you went from Ohio State, and then you're like, okay, I'm going to retire. And then I'm going to go, oh, no, I'm going to go coach for the Jaguars. And then what do you do for the Jaguars? Make them one of the worst run organizations I've ever seen in my life. Like, oh my God, what do? You after a loss, you're going to the strip club and, letting some girl that's like a third of your age, like, ride you up and down. It's like, it doesn't make any sense. And then the rumors about, like, not
it was
rumors.
His bar, but close enough.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep,
but also, not rumors, confirmed at this point. What about you basically degrading your players, saying like one of your kicker misses a kick in practice, and then you go over and kick him in the leg? Well, you should have been fired on the spot. Like, oh my God, that's not even acceptable.
There's
in
just
the
some
college
sketchy
level.
things going on there.
Yeah, 100%. It's like he's trying to be a dictator, and guess what? That might work at the college level. It shouldn't anymore. I should not. But like, it's definitely not going to work in the pros. You have a players' association for a reason.
Yeah.
It's just insane. And number one. I don't know if you guys have talked about this story yet.
I don't think so.
It is very interesting. I have Kirby Wilson / the Pitt Maulers of the USFL. So, if you haven't heard about this story, apparently there was one of their defensive players got cut. And it was released that he got cut because he wanted a slice of pizza over a chicken salad for lunch.
What?
I'm not making this up.
Wait, I think I did hear this, but I didn't read into it.
You cannot make this. They have their whole like HBO kind of Hard Knocks knockoff kind of thing that they have.
Gosh.
They tried to wipe it off as like he was being disrespectful to the staff, but from his side of the story, if you watch like the tape that he has, he goes, I don't eat, chicken salad. It's not part of my diet. I asked for a slice of pizza. The guy said I cannot have a slice of pizza. He asked if it was going to be a problem. I said yes, and he walked away. That's all he did. He went to go like down to Domino's or something and get like, 2 slices of pizza for like their slice of the day or whatever. They proceeded to call him into the office and fire him on the spot. It's unheard of. That's like, how can you A, fire someone for over a dietary reason, and B, just USFL to just not make money? Like, can you not just afford like a $5 Domino's pizza just delivered? Like hell.
Apparently not.
Apparently not. Like, if I was that guy, like, I would have just been like, are you serious? Like, next time I'll just order the pizza. Don't fire me over like something as stupid as this.
Yeah.
But just for that, like, Kirby Wilson's gonna be on this list. Like most of the point for me at this, it's unheard of. I've never heard of something being cut or fired over something as small as
that.
What they're wanting to eat for lunch. It's insane.
That's probably because it's just a marketing ploy,
Yeah, 100%. It's
100%
just a talking bed.
Yeah, that's just that is. Wow, that's unbelievable. I really don't know what to say to that with it. Oh my gosh. Anyway, Easy A's got Cleveland screwed over Mayfield. Well,
yeah, 100%. 100%.
Well, I will say this. Who has more upside? Baker or Watson?
True, 100%.
And I say that because I'm not a big fan of Baker, and I'm not a big fan of Deshaun anymore either, but I don't know. I mean, that's a whole different conversation. Easy A says 90% of the NFL is doing it for the high paycheck.
Yep.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Myers, his actions and intentions are for college and try to get away with it.
Yeah.
Well, one thing I'm going to add to that too is that, what happened in college? That's my question. That's exactly what I'm trying to figure out. What happened at Ohio State? Because something tells me that he was doing some things he shouldn't have been doing at all.
Yeah, they're probably hiding it under the rug with all the championships he won for him.
That's something to look into. So, anyway, Mikey, I like your list. We're gonna show it one more time here, and then we're gonna do a little bit of a shortened version of ARA so we can get out on time and whatnot. So, here's Mikey's list. Take a look. We'll post it later this week, and you guys can chime in, add who you want. If you make your own list, let us know. We'll do that for you as well. So anyway, let's get it going with absurd or approved.
It's time for everyone's favorite segment, absurd or approved.
right, it's time for Absurd or Approved. So, Voldy, why don't you... Oh, wait, never mind. No, excuse me. But we got some good ones tonight. I said 3. We're going to go with 2 since, a couple of these are definitely something to look into. So, our first one tonight is HBO versus Laker Legends. Now, there's been a lot of talk recently about with Magic Johnson and now Jerry West complaining about the HBO series Winning Time. Basically, what's happening here is an executive for Jerry West, he didn't like his portrayal of himself in the show. They said it was a baseless, malicious assault on his character for the Winning Time. The factor is that HBO's coming back and saying, listen, this is a dramatization and is based on extensive factual research and reliable sourcing is what HBO is saying. So just to give you a little bit of info here, Jerry West's lawyers are saying that Winning Time falsely and cruelly portrays Mr. West as an out-of-control, intoxicated rageaholic. Bears no resemblance to the real man. This was a letter sent to HBO and series producer Adam McKay, who's done a lot of other films and shows as well. Let's go with let's just put it like this, okay? HBO is dramatizing this, and Jerry West isn't liking it, and not only Jerry West, but Magic Johnson as well has sounded off. He thinks that's not very accurate as well. So. This is a very interesting deal here, and you can either take the side of the player, the guys who actually lived it, which I think has some merit to it. You can't throw that off on the wayside. But is it absurd or approved, Mikey? Did HBO do the right thing in addressing this controversy?
I mean, you just can't address. I think they did the right thing. They said their line where it's a dramatization, and they looked into the facts. I think it's approved from them. I think it's absurd that both Jerry West, Magic Johnson can say it's inaccurate, right? That's fine, but the extent that Jerry West has gone to write them a letter and be absolutely furious about this, kind of just adds fuel to the fire, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Like, I think it's absurd to even go this route. Like, this Winning Time is going to be made regardless of his input, right?
Yeah.
HBO has put too much money. They've come across this type of controversy before, like especially for I remember not HBO specifically, but for ESPN when they did the Bulls docu-series. Everyone was talking about the flu game and saying oh, Michael Jordan's kind of talking it up where he ate a bad pizza and didn't have the flu. There's going to be controversies everywhere. You just let them die. The series will get made. You're not going to get remembered because of a dramatization. They clearly said it was a dramatization. You should just leave it there. I think HBO did the right thing.
Yep. It's got my stamp of approval too, and I just want to get to this. Mikey, number 1 sounds like a reality TV show. All show, LOL. I think the players should make the film since they lived through it and since they thought it was wrong.
I can somewhat agree with that.
You can make the argument for that, but here's the thing: Adam McKay did the Vice with Dick Cheney, and then he did some other. I think didn't he direct the that one? Don't Look Up, or maybe I'm thinking of somebody else. But there's a lot of questions to was this true? Was this not true? I mean. Massive respect to Magic Johnson, but let's be honest. Magic Johnson was getting around. I mean, it is quite. I mean, I've watched this show. Okay, with the Jerry Buss thing, I don't see the buses coming out and being all pissed about it. I mean, it's mainly Jerry West. It's I don't like the portrayal of how I'm being. Well, him throwing his trophy through the glass or whatever. Yeah, he probably didn't do that, or maybe he did. Maybe he was angry. I mean, let's be honest, he probably was an angry guy because as you look at him, it kind of makes sense.
Well, and the more he fights it, the more you think like maybe this actually did happen, you know.
But reading into this too, I mean, he isn't the only one that's a little peeved by it. But Kareem is one person that hasn't liked the way that has been portrayed too, which you have to give some respect to him as well. He said about West, he never broke golf clubs. He didn't throw his trophy through the window. Sure, those actions, as of course this guy, sure those actions make dramatic moments, but they reek of facile exploitation of the man rather than exploration of the character. Which I don't think is far off, but you know what? You're not involved with putting this together. And so I think HBO did the right thing and, looked at, the research and how things went and whatnot. And if it was just so inaccurate, then they would have just canceled the show. They're not going to cancel the show. I mean, if people are watching this, it's like, oh, people might have a different interpretation. It's like, well, let's see how it all ends up. I think it's very well done, to be honest. But like you said, Mikey, I just don't think that there's enough to say we need to abolish the show.
Yeah.
Leave it be. That's what I think of it. But I wish they would maybe have some players get in on this and also kind of, put some information their way. But then again, it's just a show.
Yeah, 100%.
That's all we're going to say here. It's just a show. So, yeah, it's got my stamp of approval. HBO did the right thing, and that's kind of how we're going to leave it with that. So I assume it's got your stamp of approval as well, Mikey?
Yep, 100%.
Cool. All right, next one that we got here, this involves our Minnesota Twins. So I was looking at this article, Mikey, and I thought this was good for ARA because the big deal of the offseason for the Twins, CarlosCorrea, 3-year deal, $105 million. Heck of a deal. I mean, that's very good.
100%.
But here's the thing. It includes opt-outs in 2022 and 2023. So how does this work out? Well, the first thing is that the Twins, it's quite possible that he might opt out after this year. So we only have him for 1 year. So we got excited for a year, and then all of a sudden he's gone, right? But he is open to staying with Minnesota, and this is what he was quoted as saying. There are a lot of rumors, people saying that this is a 1-year deal type of thing. I literally just said that. And I wanted to reassure them that I wanted to be part of a family here, Correa said before Tuesday night's game against the Detroit Tigers at Target Field, which they did win, by the way, and they're winning right now. So that's a good thing. I want to be part of a winning culture, and I think this team, with this team, we can do that. So there's optimism that he could stay around, and that I think that's very good. He has struggled at the start of it. I think there's been some good things though. I mean, but he needs to do a little bit more. We're giving him all this money to be that guy and whatnot. So we're keeping our fingers crossed that he can keep doing or improve here. Absurd or approved? Do you believe CarlosCorrea will stay with the Twins after this year, Mikey?
Ooh, this is tough. I think this is a tough one.
Yeah.
It is very dependent on how well he does, I think, and how well the Twins do. I am going to stray on the side of saying it's absurd that he's going to stay.
Okay.
I think that he made this deal because he couldn't find the money that he wanted to, like in free agency, and he made it so like, hey, like maybe if I have an off year, I'll stay with the Twins, and then once I have an on year, then I can jump ship and get like the money I want in the off season, but that's very contingent on if the Twins do well and he likes the team and he wants to stay part of a winning, like if we're going deep runs into the playoffs and playing for World Series championships, he might want to stay and try to get some of those rings along with us, right?
Yeah.
But if the Twins, do classic Twins things, we get into the first round and then we lose, we get swept. He might want to jump ship,
Yeah.
If he's playing well, if he's playing like he's commanding the money for, I don't see him trying to stay, because it is a great deal for him. 3 years, $105 million contract. That's nothing to sneeze at, but he could probably command more from teams like, the big market teams like the Yankees or the Angels or Dodgers. Exactly, So I would say it's a little absurd for him to say he's going to stay put. He wants to be a part of it.
You don't believe him, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I don't believe him that he wants to stay a part of it. I think a lot of it, finding with the Twins was, hey, this is a stopgap. I'm going to put some good numbers out there and get the money I want in the market I want after this season or the next season.
This is hard for me because we all know the background. He was part of the Astros cheating scandal. He was, with that. So it's hard to take him at face value. But that's what everyone was worried about with Correa. Now, let's think about it this way. If the Twins really stink it up, which, let's be honest, it's not out of the realm of possibility.
Yeah, it's a young season.
And also with our pitching woes as well. So it's hard to take them at face value right here. And the thing is I'm going to make note of that. But if the Twins play well, and if they make the playoffs, they get beyond the frickin' first round, then I think he's going to stay. Now, let's put it like this. If they stink it up, then, he's going to opt out. And the reason why he's going to opt out is because he knows this isn't a well-run organization with conducting players and things like that, which, I've been very critical on, and we all know the deal with that. I don't want to get into it because, we're getting close to time here. But but the fact is if the Twins are winning and they play well, they go to the playoffs, they get beyond the first round, like I said, then I think he's going to stay. If they stink it up, they don't make the playoffs, he's gone. I think there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And again, we're in another year where they swung for the fences and they missed. Now he's got to play better, though. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. He has to play better because we're paying him all this money to be that guy. Now, if he wants to be part of the family and everything, well, guess what? You got to prove it now, because now people are watching you, and they're watching you with laser eyes, so be careful. Easy A says he has to stay. We need to buy players to win. That's exactly what we're saying.
Yeah, we do. I wish we paid more on the pitching side, but that's not.
They don't. They the thing is they'll never listen, and they'll just kind of do who's got the. Basically, how it's going to go, Mikey, is who's cheaper.
Yeah,
that's how
100%.
it is. That is how it is.
Got to line the pull-ad pockets.
GM. Yeah, I don't know. I don't care who's GM. That's what's going to happen. So, I think I will say it's a little absurd because I think it all depends on how the Twins play this year. So we'll put it like that. Anyway, that's going to do it for MinneZona Sports Live this week. Mikey, it was awesome talking draft with you. You're in famous list, ARA, fantastic. Can't wait for tomorrow. So you and I got Stingley. Zoners, let us know who you got for the Vikings to draft. We think they're going to stay put. If you think they're going to trade back, then trade up. Let us know. Or they're going to draft somebody else. Who knows? We'll see. But, Mikey, we'll probably have you on again here soon, and we'll be talking more Vikings, and we'll be chatting tomorrow. That's for sure.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. Sounds good.
All right, but before we get going, we always have to do this at the end. But if you want to support MinneZona Sports Live, there's ways to do that if I can find what I need. Here, weird. This is a shirt. Shirts, people, we have shirts, $20, $5 shipping for shirts. They're fantastic, 5 out of 5 stars. Also, we have hats, $20, $5 shipping as well. Look at that. Yeah, those ones, yeah. You might have to move your
I might have to move the headphones a little bit. Yeah,
there you go. Now we're talking. Those $20, $5 shipping, so make sure you check those out. We have stickers as well. $2, $3 for the big ones, $2 for the little ones. Awesome. Thank you to National Fleet Graphic, as well as Crown Rental, Tyler Knutson for the stickers. Awesome as always. And then, Mikey, you know this guy. Will Rattel,
Oh, yeah.
W2 Performance. Check him out with www.w2performance.com. He's just, he's got subscribers. He's got a lot of subscribers now. I wonder if those subscribers could come to our channel and then subscribe.
Yeah,
so
right?
We'll work something out. Check him out, www.w2performance.com with Will Rattel. Make sure you check out Jack's Junkyard, Jack O'Keefe. He's got some cool stuff posted on the socials medias. And there is a new episode of Breaking Into the League with Sam Gabrielli, our guy Gabs from STA, Mikey, and Ryan Martin, available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And speaking, another STA guy here, the Victorious P.O.D. with Ryan Walters, Jack Vickers as well. Make sure you check those guys out. Fantasy football galore with those guys. And after this draft, they're going to have some fantasy implications for the Vikings. So make sure you tune in for that. We're working on something with those guys. So a lot of things happening. And also, just to give you guys a little teaser too, and for Mikey as well, we just recorded an interview on Monday. It's coming your way next Wednesday when Voldy is back. So be checking that out. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say until next week, until we reveal it. So we got something coming your way, Zoners, Mikey and everybody else. So we'll see what happens. But anyway, Mikey, thanks again for coming on, and we'll be talking tomorrow.
Oh, yeah. Sounds good. Thanks for having me.
You bet. And remember, as always, folks, keep in the zone. Holla.
Thank you for watching MinneZona Sports Live. Join us Wednesdays at 7 p.m. for live show broadcast. And as Voldy likes to say, follow us on all the socials medias.